Good afternoon. I'm Marilee Rosine Beasley. Today is Tuesday, May the 4th. We had an election on Saturday, May the 1st. And I want it to be understood that I am formally contesting the election. I am very suspicious that the election was rigged. I think that the election was rigged on May 5th, 2018. I did a lot of work to look into that, investigate. So I want everybody to be aware that I'm going to do the same thing. I am going to do what I need to do because I am not going to stand by and watch it happen again. I have lived in Jersey Village for 40 years. I raised my family here. My children and my grandchildren live here. And I'm not going to stand by while a very strong government group does it, which I think they're doing it again. I have written many letters. I've written to the State of Texas Attorney General many times. I've written to the chair of the State of Texas Republican Party. I have his email. I've been informing him about some of the things that are going on, and I'm not going to stop. I've written to the Harris County DA. I've written to Jack Cagle, our commissioner. I've written to the Texas Rangers, which is like our state FBI. I've written to the FBI. I visited them about some of my concerns. So I want it understood that yesterday morning early, I did some PIRs, public information request. I'm asking for the election notebook. I will be able to look at who came to vote. And I've done this before, so I know what to look for. And in May 5th, 2018, I found mail-in ballot fraud in our city. And I reported it to the State of Texas Election Division. And I'm looking again. And if I need to, and I doubt I will, I'm going to file a lawsuit to look at the ballots, but I don't even think that I will because the city secretary allowed me to look at the ballots. So I want you to understand that I've been thinking about some of the numbers. One of the things that occurs to me that when somebody possibly cheats, if they cheated a little, you probably wouldn't figure it out. But when you cheat by a lot, that makes it easier to wonder. Now, Ashley Brown has lived here a couple of years, and she's been asking a lot of questions that many of us have asked for a while. And she and I talked many months ago. I haven't seen her very often, but she got interested in a petition, which I and others had been thinking about doing. And it had to do with the city hall being moved to the other side of Highway 290. And this is done without anybody who lives here, without any of us having a vote. So Ashley was able to get some volunteers, and they got a lot of signatures. They got around 900, and some of them were not valid. My understanding is Ashley Brown ended up with about 835 valid signatures. So that's data. About 834 voters, registered voters, their signatures were valid. Okay, so let's go on with the data. Now, how is it that Ashley Brown, this petition took a life on its own. She had volunteers out helping her gather signatures. Others got involved. And less than 600 people came to vote for her, and I don't believe it. I think that is not logical. All right, now here's another fact. Why was Barbie Freeman allowed to be the election judge again? I and somebody else wrote to the state chair at that time. We wrote to the chair of the Harris County Republican Party, and Barbie Freeman stepped down. Why was she allowed to come and be the election judge again? I did write emails about it. I was asking who do I complain to about this, and I did what I could. So that's something that troubles me. Now, let's talk about the election night. My understanding is that the numbers weren't tabulated until almost 3 a.m. I want to know why, in this day and age, that the election committee or whoever was in charge, why didn't they get a Scantron? That would have made it very easy. Why didn't they use another group of people, voters, who don't live in Jersey Village to help? So these are some things that are very troubling. Now, I also am aware of another fact, And that is somebody I know ran for city council a few years ago. There were about 1,000 voters at that time. Now, I didn't think to ask this person if it was possible that there were also some other items on the ballot. So I didn't ask that. But let's say that there were not. So we're gonna do some extrapolation. We're gonna adjust. So he told me that by 8:30 the numbers were tabulated and they were done. So that the polls closed at 7, the numbers were done about 8:30, and they knew the results, and there were about 1,000 voters. Now we had a few more than that, 1,288. So let's double the time. Instead of 8:30, let's just pretend that it might have taken another hour and a half. And so now we're at 10. And let's do a little adjusting, and let's just say, okay, so now let's add some more because there were some proposals. There were 5. And so let's adjust it for another hour. So now we're at 11. And if we stretch it a little, maybe 12, but we probably don't need to. Why were they tabulating by hand? Why weren't they using a Scantron? So I think I know why. And we're going to find out in the next few days. And I have been discussing some of this with the person who's in charge of ballot security. I saw him last night at a meeting. And I do not understand. I do not understand why the mayor, the city council members, why all this is going on again. Why are the citizens not being allowed to vote on much? Why is the city council appointing their like-minded friends? Why aren't we electing them? Why does it take so long for the serious projects that need to be done? It's been slightly over 5 years since the tax day flood. Has the root cause of that flood been addressed? I doubt it. So here are some other things that concern me. Now, we have many people that get on a community website that's called Nextdoor. Now, James Singleton is a council person, and his wife, Lynn, she was a monitor. And I and others did suggest that that really was a conflict of interest. And she said she respectfully disagreed. And it seemed like if you said anything that the government group didn't like, your post would disappear. Now, I did write to the corporate headquarters to discuss some of these issues. I sent 10 letters and not one letter was acknowledged, which I find it hard to believe. I've sent many emails to the city council, Austin Blease, the attorneys with Olson & Olson, and I've noticed that many times I never get a response, which says a lot to me. Now, I don't need to be mayor, but I want to be mayor because I want to make sure that the city runs right. I have my children and grandchildren here, and I don't like to see what's going on. Now, I have been silent all of this time. The current mayor lashed out at Ashley Brown and me on Facebook, and I was astounded. I've not said anything. I didn't even really know what was going on. I couldn't be on I was in Facebook jail, so I just didn't even bother to get back on or get involved again. And years ago, I was kicked off of Nextdoor, and I just didn't have the time to figure out if I wanted to be back on, and so I just didn't. And there are others who've been monitoring what's going on, and I intend to make sure that this is reported to the State of Texas Ethics Commission and to Facebook and Nextdoor, although I doubt much will happen with those companies. Now, is this the way to run a city? I don't think so. I don't think it's okay for the current mayor's wife to stand up in city council and introduce herself and talk about running for office. Is it illegal? I don't know. It certainly seems unethical to me. Also, somebody pointed out that Bobby Warren, who was running for mayor, he was my opponent, that he got on Nextdoor and announced he was running for office. And I doubt that that's okay with the policies of Nextdoor. What I see is a group of people that have been doing whatever they want to do, and they don't care. They just don't seem to care about what most of the rest of us want. I think that the citizens should be allowed to vote on TERS 2 and TERS 3. I didn't even know there was TERS 3. Now, why in the world do we want a city hall on the other side of Highway 290? There are people that really don't want to go way over there. That area is at risk for flooding, and I think the land may be contaminated. And I'm very, very concerned about the deal that was struck with the architect with Collaborative. And I think it's very important for everybody to stay involved, be involved, and go ahead and read, get on the website. I believe that the contract with that company is there. And I think everybody needs to take a look, and I think we need to do a lot of petitions. And this is our city. We are the people. We pay with our hard-earned tax dollars. We pay for these things. I mean, I found out that the golf course, which is bleeding money, has been, that it gave away 2,000 free rounds of golf. And I don't mind a few free rounds of golf, but come on, were the taxpayers aware? We fund these things. So please tell me why the city government group wants to run our city this way. Now, I identify now with our former President Donald Trump. I know how he feels, because it seems like that there are people out there that will do whatever they can do because they want the power and the money. Now, it happens that I have the qualifications for this job. I actually can afford to do this as a volunteer. And I feel like right now, this is my mission, that I need to investigate this election like I did in May 5th, 2018, and found mail-in ballot fraud. I don't like what's going on. I don't like all the things that are hidden. I don't like the way that James Singleton acted when he worked for the Jersey Village Police Department. And all of these things you can find out if you Google things about the Southeast Texas Record. And David Yates has written some articles. So please stay involved, stay informed, and find out more. And there is a meeting tonight at 7 o'clock that Bobby Warren is hosting about the Village Center. And I think it would be a great idea if everybody goes, because I guess, is it possible that Bobby Warren wants to convince us why we need this project? I don't think that we do. And I don't like the way that things have been handled. So please ask questions. And please join me in finding out what's really going on, because frankly, I don't think this is the way that most of us want a city to be run. Why in the world should the military be out there and fighting for our right to vote, for our right to have free speech, when it appears to me that in Jersey Village and other places we don't? So please look at my website. Please check things out. Please ask questions. Thank you, and have a blessed day.